Whether it's an art born of shared human experience or from algorithms that attempt to plagiarize that shared human experience, the creation and distribution of art becomes inherently political. There has never been a more important moment than today to ask ourselves who we are within this power we each hold, how we will choose to use our voices while they are still available to us. If we take the longer historical view, the act of chanting and singing emerges as one of the most ancient and sacred technologies that human beings have. There's a profound social biological power of music making. Studies suggest that singing together entrains participants' breathing, even their heart rates. Researchers have also observed oxytocin increase in the brain after collective singing, as well as heightened feelings of bonding between its participants. These biological effects map themselves into a long social history. Anthropologists find that rhythmic vocalization, drumming, accompanied ritual gatherings tens of thousands of years ago. Armies marched to rhythm for coordination and morale. Medieval guilds, labor fraternities, sang work songs that regulated their pace of collective labor. And in many religious traditions, communal chant structured ritual life. It reflected the authority of the institutions that guide it. If we accept the premise that art is an unmistakable representation of the social conditions that produce it, then the category of protest music becomes much easier to understand. It is a music that appears wherever communities gather to express dissent. It is the radio anthem of resistance that circulates across media networks. Or it could be the embodied ritual of singing together in streets, squares, demonstrations. Across the world, movements for justice have often been carried by song. In South Africa, freedom songs sustained the anti-apartheid struggle. In the 1980s, hundreds of thousands of Estonians gathered in what became known as the Singing Revolution, performing national songs that were banned under Soviet rule. Indigenous sovereignty movements across the Americas continue to center drum circles, round dances, and chant traditions as expressions of land rights and of their cultural continuity. And in Puerto Rico and in Latin America today, artists such as Bad Bunny use global platforms to challenge corruption, colonial status, economic inequality. The list goes on. Nearly every major social movement we encounter today through the media will carry its own soundtrack. But within the United States, perhaps no tradition has shaped protest music more profoundly than that of the African diaspora. Musical practices carried through centuries of sacred and suppressed oral tradition evolved into spirituals and work songs that became their own vessels of communal memory. Songs such as Follow the Drinking Gourd or Steal Away circulated within enslaved communities and later became part of our broader cultural inheritance. And of course, later on, during the civil rights movement, these traditions were a powerful organizing tool. Activists sang spirituals, gospel songs, folk hymns during marches, mass meetings, even while facing violence or arrest. Resistance anthems like There Is More Love Somewhere, We Shall Overcome, or This Little Light of Mine, among many others, became mass mobilizations that thousands of people could even sing together with minimal rehearsal. Traditions born under centuries of slavery ultimately became not just the definitive American cultural export, but its own blueprint of protest around the world. Alongside this tradition, protest music also developed within the American labor movement. In the early 20th century, the industrial workers of the world circulated the Little Red Songbook, which included songs such as Solidarity Forever, often set to familiar melodies, so workers from different linguistic backgrounds could share and learn them quickly. And by the 1960s, music of protest became closely associated with the folk revival. Artists such as Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, Phil Ochs wrote songs on the topic of war and civil rights, fairness, economic justice. And bridging us to the present day, many of these musical traditions have been led and sustained by women. From labor organizer Florence Reese, who wrote Which Side Are You On?, To civil rights leaders like Fannie Lou Hamer and Bernice Johnson Reagan, women have often served as song leaders who helped to transform gatherings of people into singing movements. LGBTQIA+ communities have also built powerful musical traditions of protests and solidarity, from the chants and songs of the AIDS activism movement to contemporary queer liberation marches. Music continues to shape cultural identity. And we follow this vast lineage to the present. In response to the events of Minneapolis just a few months ago, musicians across the country quickly began writing new protest songs of solidarity and resistance. Even here, that city only became one headline within a much larger national mobilization of chants and protest music of all forms emerging. Organizers anticipate that the March 28th No Kings demonstration could become one of the largest, if not the largest, protest mobilization in modern American history. So my question to you is as follows. Who am I in a moment like this? Am I the kind of person who would start a chant? Or am I the kind that assumes someone else might? Or am I the kind of person who might disregard it altogether? And how will I use my voice as the most impactful democratic tool of resistance? Ethnomusicologist Noriko Manabe, in her essay, Chants of the Resistance, Flow, Memory, and Inclusivity, offers one of the clearest scholarly analyses of contemporary protest chanting. Observing the Women's March in New York in 2017, she reflects on how protest movements develop, affirming that chanting often engages that central biological mechanism through which people can feel solidarity. A chant is protest music in perhaps its most portable form. It requires little to no rehearsal, it can be done without instruments, it can be led by anyone. It is a form of active protest music built from the same lineage that has animated spirituals, labor songs, and movement anthems, built from accessible phrases, repetitive rhythms. In fact, Manabe, the author of this paper, shows that many chants are constructed from pre-existing templates that have been used in earlier protests. She reports that nearly 2/3, or 60%, of the chants she heard at the Women's March fit into a simple sentence structure, which is a short rhythmic motive, repeated, followed by a longer continuation. Anyway, here are some other variations. I'll lead it the first time, and Kim and y'all will join the second time. Hey, hey, ho, ho, this Muslim ban has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho.
This Muslim ban has got to go. Good. And another. Hey, hey, ho, ho, these ice raids have got to go. This hey, hey, ho, ho, blank has got to go sentence is one of the most common musical formulas used in protest chants. Notice how quickly we all latched onto that hook, even after hearing it just once. And yes, this widely used structure falls under that same umbrella of sentence form type chants. They're short, rhythmically predictable, easy to remember, short rhythmic motive, hey, hey, short rhythmic motive, ho, ho, long motive, these blank have got to go. As we see, the structure is already familiar. Participants can quickly adapt the wording to address the specific issue at hand. So this is great news for us all, because this means even if you're new to activism, you can hop right on by borrowing these frameworks and adding words that are familiar and relevant to your movement. They're incredibly simple and can be repeated over and over. This one falls in a different pattern. This one is no blank, no blank, no blank, or no X, no Y, no Z. Again, short phrase, long phrase, sentence. You can replace that third line with a new statement too. The beauty is that it can fit any rallying cry. Here's another example. No hate, no fear. Refugees are welcome here.
No hate, no fear. Refugees are welcome here.
And here's another. No ban, no wall, sanctuary for all.
No ban, no wall, sanctuary for all.
And here's one we would be guaranteed to hear on March 28th. No thrones, no crowns, these oligarchs have got to go.
No thrones,
No crowns, these oligarchs have got to go. Nice work. Here's a third within this category that we can learn together. This one is the say it loud, say it clear structure. Just for quick demonstration purposes, I invite you to all please alternate with me. Make sure to listen to the variable word each time. So I'll start, and Kim will sing along with y'all. Say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear, refugees are welcome here. Say it loud, say it clear, immigrants are welcome here. Say it loud,
say it clear, immigrants are welcome here.
say it loud, say it clear, everyone is welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear, everyone is welcome here.
Good. This one can be done as a long continuous string, as we've just done. But in the dozens of videos I've watched in preparation for today, I've heard this chant broken up between the leader and the followers. For example, the first half of the sentence could be a call from the leader, and the second half could be a response from the rest. So let's go back to that same phrase. I'll jump in on that first half, and we will respond, refugees are welcome here. Let me repeat that. I will say it loud, say it clear, and then Kim and you all will respond, refugees are welcome here. Here we go. Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Say it loud, say it clear.
Refugees are welcome here.
Nice. So you'll notice the structure uses the leader a little differently. And for practical reasons, sometimes simply fatigue or endurance. Crowds often shift between chanting together and the leader calling the first half of the crowd responding. Most groups figure out pretty quickly and on their feet when the moment calls for one or the other. The final within sentence structure, again, this short, long phrase construction, is the international protest slogan, "The people united will never be defeated." Originally popularized in Spanish as the Chilean protest anthem, El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. If you are a chant leader surrounded by non-native speakers, such as myself, you may wish to take a minute to go over the pronunciation of the Spanish. As such, and I offer this with the caveat, I will do my best to pronounce Spanish authentically, which is El pueblo first, unido, jamás será vencido. By the way, notice that I teach the pronunciation in that same way that preserves that sentence structure. This one might be a little more complicated, so let's take it a little slower. I'll go first, and then Kim and all of you will respond together. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Jamás será vencido. Nice. So that one would take a little bit, if we're not in a Hispanic country, that one might take a little longer to teach. So these all are the sentence-style chants. The second most common chant structure, accounting for roughly 28% of the chants that our paper's author heard at the Women's Right March, follows what theorists call period form. And this structure is pretty similar to the sentence form, but in this case, an opening phrase known as the antecedent is followed by a responding phrase known as the consequent. Without getting too much more in the technical jargon here, it's a pattern that resembles tension and release in the same phrase. This two-part structure might also invite a leader to initiate the first phrase and the crowd to answer with the second. Right now, we're going to bulldoze through one after another. No justice, no justice, no justice, no justice. Stop the wall, we'll tear it down. Stop the wall, stop the wall, stop the wall, When science is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When clean air is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When clean water is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When public health is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When immigrants are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When trans kids are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Our friends and neighbors are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy.
Looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Tell me what America looks like.
This is what America looks like.
Great work. As you may have noticed during this demonstration, I scaffolded us a bit into learning chants as we were going over them. Although I realize as I give this sermon that we may have already been familiar to some extent with these chants. It certainly sounds that way. Of course, my experience in protest leadership is much more narrow compared to my experience in teaching music, and that's something I know how to do. Despite having a degree in music education, I'll admit I don't particularly enjoy being a leader with a megaphone or the center of attention. When I was 5 years old, my parents had to put a cardboard sign on top of the piano at piano recitals that read "No clapping," because I gained a reputation at a young age of being shy, and that I was called Robert No Clapping Buonaspina. If I were to answer my own question from before, who am I in a moment like this, I can't say that my initial reaction would have been that of a leader, or even in some days, a follower. So if I can stand up here and help guide a room of people to chant, I promise any of you can do the same when the moment calls for it. So my question to you, I will repeat, is how do you feel about being the one who starts it? My hope, that is, if in the moment calls for it in your activism, hopefully you may have more of an idea on how to begin locally and to help others join in, whether it's 4 people on a street corner or 400 people in a plaza. So here are a few practical examples that you can take with you to help chants spread quickly, clearly, and intentionally. So first, in advance of your event, if you need, you may curate a small set of chants and to have them in your back pocket. So that's keeping the number manageable. Let's say 3 or 4 chants, such as the sentence chants, if we remember the first one we did. Good. The second one we did? No X, no Y, no Z. And the third, say it loud. Good. Those 3 are perfectly fine to recycle, especially for beginners. If you're eager to learn more chants and protest music, you will find resources that talk about this in your orders of service from people much more experienced than myself, including a PDF of protest music found at the No Kings protests, generously compiled by the Kairos Center. You'll find 2 resources about this at the bottom of your orders of service. The second tool I would give to you on how to teach music or how to lead in this capacity is to organize to share leadership when possible. You may have noticed that our ability to catch on to a chant was enhanced when Kim was responding the role of the crowd and I was the leader. And this works great for call and response so that you can have scaffolding on both ends. This also allows for one person to reset if needed, while another continues the chant. So organize for at least 2, if not many leaders. And if available, please prepare to bring amplification, such as a megaphone. A megaphone or portable sound system can help a chant reach a much larger group. And be sure to articulate clearly. This Muslim ban has got to go. Make sure your B is very clear, so it does not sound like man. Okay. If any, I would now invite us to think on the day of. What are some things we want to think about in terms of teaching chants? If any of the chants need teaching or they're new to the people with whom you're protesting, great. Teach it line by line, phrase by phrase, break it up. And last but not least, and this can be difficult, especially for me on some days, be a grounded presence. Keep in mind the incredible work of exercising a fundamental civic right the right to gather and to speak together. And be sure to pay attention to the people around you. As stated on the Kairos Center No Kings pamphlet, song leaders should believe in the power of music and be confident in knowing that music can move people in profound ways. Sing out, sing strong, and bring people into the spirit of the moment with you. Across the United States right now, we are already seeing examples of local pods or affinity groups of people emerging and taking on leadership roles in teaching music. One of the most visible is this beautiful singing resistance movement. As they describe themselves, they are a decentralized network of singers organizing public songs in response to rising authoritarianism. Their approach is simple and powerful. Gather people, teach songs by ear, and to bring those songs into public spaces. I recently had the opportunity to attend one of their workshops last week, and the organizers shared practical tools for teaching songs and chants quickly, very similar to what I shared with you today. These are simple frameworks that anyone could step into a leadership role with, even without prior experience. There will be a singing resistance gathering at Riverside Church this Thursday. That's March 19th at 6:30, where people will be singing similar songs and chants ahead of March 28th, the National Day of Action. I believe Reverend Sam and myself, we are both planning to attend as spectators. Then on March 28th, and you'll hear more about this in the announcements, but I'll give you a little preview now, we will host a sing-in of our own here at Fourth Universalist. And you'll hear more about that. After a morning of bagels, coffee, sign making, we'll spend an hour singing together and revisiting perhaps some of the chants we did today. And in the afternoon, we will march together. The expectation is not that chanting or singing needs to happen only today or on March 28th, but when we organize and gather ourselves in our own communities, we bring our imperfect selves with us. Peaceful protest remains one of the fundamental civic rights in a democratic society. And when communities gather to sing, they exercise that right in one of the most ancient and sacred ways that human beings know. May we carry forward the simple power of song and chant. May we pay attention to the voices around us, find the courage to add our own when the moment calls. May we pay homage to the lineage of Black freedom organizers, women, queer, trans activists, indigenous peoples, labor leaders, immigrants, anti-colonial movements around the world, and many others whose voices have insisted that our promise of democracy be widened and renewed. And so we'll close with a song that I'll teach you now that has recently been circulating in Minneapolis protests in the singing resistance movement, entitled, "This is for Our Families Who Are Locked Inside." I'll teach it to you line by line. Kim will sing with you as the congregation, and I will teach you as the leader, phrase by phrase. May I have a D sharp, please? Or B major chord. Thank you. This is for our families who are locked inside.
This is for our families who are locked inside.
Together we will abolish ICE.
Together we will abolish ICE.
Voices of our children will be our guide.
Voices of our children will be our guide.
They cried freedom, so now we rise.
They cried freedom, so now we
And we repeat that
rise.
last part. They cried freedom, so now we... This is for our families. This is for our families who are locked inside. Together we will abolish voices of our children. Voices of our children will be our... They cried freedom. They cried freedom, so now we rise. They cried freedom, so now we rise. This is for our families who are locked inside. Together,
we will abolish ICE.
voices,
Voices of our children will be our
they cried.
guide. They cried freedom, so now we rise.
They cried.
They cried freedom, so now we rise.
One more time. This is for our families.
Who are locked inside.
Together we,
Together we will abolish ICE.
voices,
Voices of our children will be our guide.
they cried.
They cried freedom, so now we
They
rise.
cried. They cried freedom, so now we, they cried.
They cried freedom, so now we
One more time. They cried.
They cried freedom, so now we rise.
Blessed be. Thank you.